Hello, welcome to January's webinar. I see lots of familiar names. Jenna North, I was just thinking when I saw yours, you are so good about ensuring that you include your pronouns in every place I see your name, and I have got to get better at doing it. It was in my email signature, and then that was it. And I feel like every place I see yours, I have them. Good morning, Kat, how are you? Lots of familiar faces, hopefully some new ones. Anyone on for the first time? You can do this by finding your chat for me, finding your question and answer, making sure that you know how to interact with us. If you're here for the first time, that's a good way to let me know that you're here for the first time. Hi, Miriam from Miami. Oh, Pam and Medina, Brooke, lots of first timers. Okay, good. Welcome, glad to have you. It's like starting a new year, committing to investing in yourself. Hopefully by the end of this webinar, we'll talk you into investing 1 hour, just 1 hour at least, in yourself each month to kind of spend some time investing in your own development, in your own self. Tatiana, welcome, first time. Oh, Tiffany's in Chicago and first time, love it. Hi, Jill and Pam. We have a bunch of first timers. Well, we're certainly glad to have you. Clearly, it was a topic that was resonating for many of you. Thank you, Linda. I have a couple, my Barb Clara and my Bethany Mavronicals, who are, I think, on their perfect attendance award for however many years. So if you're one of those two, you can also let me know that you're on. I'm always looking for one of them for their perfect attendance. Bethany, on for us. I'm sure Barb will make it. You're probably on earlier, but I'm sure that Barb will make it. Reminder to everybody, there is a handout. So in the actual panel with the go-to menu stuff, there is a handout if you wanted that one. So you have the handout available to you if you want to either follow along electronically, or if you're super old school like me, although I'm trying to be more conscious. I know it's not good for the environment, all of my printing, but I'm still a paper and pen person. For anyone who makes New Year's resolutions, and most of my team knows, my resolution for many years was to get off of notebooks and papers and pens. I tried the iPad and the iPencil. I tried the Everlast notebooks that were going to type things for me. Darn it, it's been a failure. Every year I've tried, I haven't been able to get there. So I'm still working on it. I know we have quite a few people still joining. I do want to make sure we get started at the top of the hour because we have great information to get through. And even today, we're going to get to talk to a guaranteed rate employee who has worked with this doctor, our presenter for today. So we'll have Jackie come on at the end of the kind of Q&A as well. We'll invite Jackie on the screen. So I wanted to just make sure that we get all of our time in, but I know people are still working to join. We had quite a few registered today and people still kind of getting themselves set. Oh, and I have a lot of paper people. Thank you, paper people. It's maybe not a good group to be in anymore. I feel like I need to be more conscious. I try not to print as much as I used to. I print two-sided, trying to, but I think I'm one of those, the learners that needs to be able to write it down, so. All right, we are coming up right at the top of the hour right now. It's 11 o'clock. So again, I am hoping and everyone will be able to get in, but I'm confident that Dr. Melnick will be able to catch us all up. So today our presenter is bringing an amazing topic, own your power, set the terms for success and leadership in your life. Dr. Melnick hosts the Power Shift podcast. So for so many of you who have given podcast referrals and gotten different sort of homework afterwards that they want to be able to dive more into, you'll be able to do the same with her. 10 years of psychology research at Harvard Medical School, a Marshall Goldsmith top 100 coach. As I said, she works with someone here. I could certainly go on all day, but if I can invite you to join me on the screen, Dr. Melnick, I'd prefer for them to get to you. I feel like they get to talk to me all the time. They have all kinds of discussions with me, but hearing from you directly is probably best. Thank you. Appreciate having you here today.
So good to be here with you.
Ah, perfect. You joined me on camera for just a moment and then it went off. So I'll send you another webcam request. It was, you were with me and then not. Ah, there you go.
There we
And
go.
as always, I will leave you in their hands. I'll be here to help behind the scenes. You all know the drill. Send questions through. Dr. Melnick will take us through, and then I'll chime in at the end. We'll leave some space for questions then as well. Thank you.
See my screen.
We can. We're with you.
We are set to go. As we make a fresh start in 2022, I want to invite you to settle into your seat, to settle into your year, and let's start by making an intention, right? So invite you to put yourself in this same seat. It's December 31st at the end of 2022. And I want you to take a deep breath in. You're looking back over your year. You are kind of checking in with yourself. And I want you to just, think about, like, what do you want to experience? What do you want to experience? So allow yourself, like, where's your business now? What milestones have you reached and passed? What's the contribution that you've made that you are proud of? What's the next level that you've come into? What have you learned that's become second nature to you now? Imagine that you've lived up to your potential, and notice how you're satisfied in the difference that you've been able to make for others. Allow yourself to be energized and not burned out by it. Allow yourself to have this experience while taking care of yourself, being present, being connected to others, feeling supported by others, having gained cooperation, feeling seen, feeling heard, really making the impact that you are here to make. And take that in now. And now that you've set this intention, now if you have an idea of where you want to be and you are really clear about where you want to be, or maybe it's a kind of a sort of idea, it's like a little fuzzy, but if you don't know how to get from here to there, or you're thinking, well, like, part of me believes that I can get there, but like part of me is, maybe it's a little imposterish. Or if you're thinking like, no, I know exactly where I want to go, but it's like, I need these other people to, like, live up to my standard in order to get there, then this webinar is for you. And what I want to be talking about today is that you have a power. You have a hidden force inside of you that is available to you, that is going to help you make this happen. And that's what I want to talk with you about today. Just one second, my webcam went away there. There we go. Okay, so today I want to talk with you about power, about being in your power. Now, what does that even mean? This year, we're going to have less force, more flow. You are going to kind of be in your stride. You're going to be able to make things happen. You are going to be aligned in what you think and what you feel and what it is that you do. This is the beginnings of what it means to be in your power. Now, this is a word that can be complicated for women, so let me tell you what I mean by power. So power comes from the Latin root posse, which means to be able. And the reason we're going to be talking about power and being in your power today, it's going to help you to determine your own mental and emotional state. When you're in your power, you can be separate from the effects of others on you. You can decide how you see yourself and what you believe about yourself. You can take actions that are intentional and not just kind of reactive or whatever kind of is automatic in the moment. You can set the course of your future, and your future can be determined by your own actions and how you can influence others. And when you're in your power, you are able to lift and inspire others, empowering them with your power. So this is what I mean by being in your power and using your power for the good of all. Your potential is in your power. Power is preparatory. Being in your power precedes progress. So that's we're going to start off the year strong, being in your power so that you can channel this life force that you have, this know-how, this emotional intelligence, this energy, this experience, this vision, and channel it into your goals and to making a bigger difference for others. Now, I want to start off just helping you to see how this might play out in your day-to-day. Now, many of us are going through our days now as what I call the thermometer, right? Now, when you're the thermometer, then you are reacting to what other people are doing. You're playing off of them. Your temperature is going up and down. Your emotional mental state is kind of reacting and in and out according to what other people are doing or maybe not doing, right? That's what it's like to be the thermometer. And I want to invite you, starting today, instead to be the thermostat. When you're the thermostat, you're the one who sets the temperature. You set the tone. You set the vision and bring people along in it. You're the one who can create the culture around you. You decide how you're going to show up. You decide how to be your best self, and you show up as her. So maybe we could just, here in the chat here, like, who wants to be the thermostat, not the thermometer?
All right, let's see. Oh, a whole lots of me. Love it. Yes, don't want to just be showing up at what everyone else is doing. I love that. Them setting the tone or the temperature. Definitely love it. Oh, Lindsay, I love it. Lindsay says, heat wave. Tiffany says, it is time to change. Love it.
I love it. So we're going to start off making this year the year that you are the thermostat. And the way that I think about it, right, is that, the way that I think about it is that your impact in 2022 will be determined not by how you react to others' limitations, but by raising yourself and others to be limitless. So let's start off, Ella, let's do the poll. Let's just take a temperature check of where are you now in terms of being in your power?
All right, we'll leave it open for about a minute, but I think that you'll have to find your way. Are you fully in control of reaching your goals and you have a good awareness of that? You've stepped into that power, or I'm getting better at owning it, but still not 100%. Sometimes I feel in control, kind of day to day, or not really much power. I do feel like other people's attitudes, actions, the way they come ends up determining a lot of your day. So please make your selection on the screen. I love those of you chatting saying, well, I'm a thermometer with intermittent thermostat tendencies. Sometimes I feel in control. Yeah, like that's probably a popular one. Anyone else want to answer on the screen so we can get all 400 of us figure out where we are? We often find in this call we're not alone. Someone's there. Kat, I love Kat's like, my thermostat goes on and off. Yep. Probably a work. All right, Ella, I think that's as many of the ones on the screen we'll have. Let's see what everyone, so I'm getting better at owning my power. So we're into it. We're working toward it, progress, but not 100% at 45. And then 38% saying sometimes I feel in control. There are still those ends, not 10%, not much. Other people are determining my life. And then 7 who have really acknowledged that they own full control of reaching their goals. Great.
Fantastic. So for those of you who are in your power, be sharing with us how you do that along the way. And for those of you, it seems like there's a number of you who like, stay tuned, okay? And let's keep going so that you can be in your power this year. So I wanna go over in our time together today, 3 ways that you might not be in your power now and what you can do so that you can achieve your goals and make a bigger difference with less effort. Let's go. So the first way that I want to talk about that you might not be in your power is that you might be leaking your power, right? You might be leaking your power. So you probably have a sense of what this is like, right? When you don't feel in control of situations, when you feel like other people's decisions or behaviors are kind of determining, when you don't feel seen and you don't feel heard, and that's leaking your power. And it's just like, shh. How many of you have, kind of had that experience, if you know what I mean, and you just feel like you kind of, you can't get heard. It feels disappointing. It can be demoralizing. You can start to second guess yourself. You can start to doubt yourself. When you don't feel heard, you get deflated, you feel defeated. It just kind of takes a lot of energy. It's not only all the work that you have to do or want to do, but then there's all this extra kind of like emotional energy that goes into it. And what's really important, and that I really want to have you do kind of a self-check on, is that when you feel like you're not in control, when your options are limited, when you can't sort of get the situation or other people to kind of go along with your vision, you can start to show up as a diminished version of yourself. And so that's in the rearview mirror. If that's happening for you, that's not happening in 2022. So here is a way that I want to encourage you to think about it. In order to stop leaking your power, I want you to always kind of immediately call up this diagram. And this diagram starts to put your attention on answering the question, where's your power? Where's your power? That is like your go-to question. That is the first question in any situation. When you find yourself, you're kind of micro-tracking the other people and what they're doing or not doing, and your attention is getting all caught up on like, I'm overwhelmed and I can't control it. And you start to notice that you're getting yourself stressed out. We feel stressed when aspects of the situation are out of our control. So immediately, where's my power? And you're going to call to mind this diagram. And this diagram requires you to sort out what are the aspects of the situation you can control. And I call this your 50%. And distinguish that from the aspects of the situation that are below the line, what I call the other 50%. Now, if you think of a challenging situation that you are facing right now, it's quite likely that you are focusing a good deal of your attention below the line on things that you can't control. And again, that's just immediately like leaking your power. That power is not available to you. The more power that you can hold within you, the more you can use in the service of your goals. So that's what we want to really get into the intention of starting today, is to focus your attention above the line. Now, I know what you might be saying to yourself, because you're savvy and you're like, yeah, Dr. Melnick, that sounds all good in theory, but really, like, it is the things that are below the line that I can't control. Like, you don't get it, okay? And so I really want to encourage you to kind of play along with this. And I want you to kind of take a moment, and I want you to start, like, think of a challenging situation, and I want you to even start doing an inventory on what you can control and what you can't control. And I want you to start seeing that there is so much that is within your control, even when it seems like there's not too much in your control. And because there are so many things that you can control, I know you have so many things on your mind. So I'm going to make it easy for you. And there's just one simple rule to remember. And I call this the 50% rule. And the 50% rule is be impeccable for your 50%. That means take 100% responsibility for everything that is within your control. Right? Before you ever allow yourself to kind of leak your power and drain your energy, focusing on things that are frustrating, blaming people, matters that are out of your control. So be impeccable for your 50%. And let me get into the fine details here, because let me speak to kind of the control freaks in the crowd, kind of a take one, no one kind of thing here. Is I am not encouraging you to be a control freak or a perfectionist, in a way that really grinds you down, because that would be trying to control 100% of the pie. And what I'm saying is put your time and your energy and attention on being really effective at the things that you can control. And when you do that, you will be able to get so far along to the things that you want, your goals, your vision, and not have too much at all of kind of leaking your power along the way. So you might just take a minute and download the action guide there, and just on the slide that's available to you, start making a written inventory of what you can control and what you can't control. And then if anybody along the way wants to share an insight in the chat, you can do that. And I'll just give you an example. This one is going to be ripped from the headlines, because I was just talking with a client about this yesterday late afternoon. So she is a chief technology officer at a fast-growing startup, and her company and another merged. And so things are very in flux. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of things that she can't control with the new people coming in and who's going to be in what role and what role are they doing. She's feeling very overwhelmed. She's feeling stressed out, and she's feeling like, I have these really important goals and big goals, and we're getting off track, and what am I going to do with the team? There's people who are underperforming, and she's just kind of in this place. You could see focusing on what she can control. So just even in this example, when it seems that there's so much that she can't control, actually there's so much that you can control, especially when you're in a leadership position on a team. But no matter where you are in the team, it's how you can show up. So just as an example, she could start to give a lot of clarity to her people on their roles. She could set forth a vision and the values of what this new merged team is going to be like. We set up a whole retreat. We were going to bring the two teams together, and we were going to anticipate what the obstacles might be and the redundancies in the role. She had team members who were kind of not performing, and she was very tempted to get kind of reactive and aggravated in this situation. So I taught her a breathing technique that she could use to stay instantly cool, calm, and collected and bring her best self. You can ask me about that in the Q&A if you want. But there's so many examples of this that she is, able now to feel much more in control. She has a clear plan. She's already, I got an email this morning, getting people on track, and they're back on track towards their goals. So even when it seems like there's so many things that are below the line, you always, always, always can be impeccable for your 50%. So Lizzie, if you want to share any insights that people are having by being impeccable for your 50%, feel free.
I think that there are a few that are saying, yes, I love this. I'm trying to be the best I can for what I can control. Quite a few that are ready for the Q&A part of the breathing exercise. They don't want you to leave that one off. The idea that I can bring myself down in the middle of what can feel like a spiral, I think is a bit taking over the chat. But yes, there are many saying, I'm trying to get through this, holding myself accountable to be able to hold other people accountable. That helps sets the tone for others. So thank you, Melissa, for sharing. But yeah, I think that this is resonating with them.
Hitting a nerve, absolutely. And I really appreciate what you said, where it is about first being in your power so that you can then radiate that out to others, holding yourself accountable. And I think that that's really important. And it's a takeaway that I really want you to get for those of you who want to achieve big goals this year, is that if you're not in your power, you're really not as good for yourself or for anyone else, right? So when she was kind of reacting and feeling stressed out, and then she was kind of playing off of the energy on her team. And as a leader, you create the weather on your team that you can control, right? And now that she's kind of back in her power, then she can hold that space for other people. She can be a role model, etc. So you're already intuitively really getting this. And I really appreciate those of you who are like, yes, I get this. I could see how important that is. Then I want to invite you to like take the pledge. Like, let's make, a commitment this year to be impeccable for your 50%. So anyone who's in and, like sees the merit of this, then like just raise your right hand, just raise your right hand and be like, I state your name, commit to being impeccable for my 50%. We're going to plug the leaks on your power. It's going to set an intention. It's going to immediately set you up to kind of look for what can you control in the situation. So that's the first thing that you can do to stay in your power. As we go to the second thing that you can do to stay in your power, keep your power within you, I want to start with a story. This is a story from early on in my career, and this was at the point very early in my career, and I went to a rock concert down in Washington, DC. And I got there early because I had to fly in from Boston, Cambridge. And I went all the way down to the front because there were only people in the front. And there were these people who were like a little clustering there to my left. And I looked and there's one person who I recognized in that group, and it was Tipper Gore. And she was the wife of the then Vice President Al Gore at the time. And so I went right over to her, confident, and I said, hi, I'm Dr. Sharon Melnick. I do research at Harvard Medical School, and, I'm helping women and families to be confident and resilient and, make their contribution they're here to make and all that. And she's intrigued and she's interested, and we start to talk, and she's interested, and then she tells me about her daughter, Sarah, who's at Harvard and having these like kind of struggles. So we're having like a girlfriend moment, you know what I mean? It's like a little estrogen fest. And at a certain point, she turns around to her chief of staff and she says, Melissa, would you get Dr. Melnick's contact information? We want to invite her down to the White House to share the policy implications of her research. I'm like, oh, okay, this is like pretty cool. And so I go home and I type up a thing, like kind of introductory, high level. I send it off and I don't really think about it. But about 6 weeks later, I'm about to go for a run. The phone rings. Pick up the phone, Melissa. And she starts telling me about Tipper's initiatives and how she's going to help all these millions of women around the country. And at a certain point, she says to me, would you be interested in coming down to the White House to share the policy implications of your research? So I picture myself around the table in the White House, and I think like, of my goals and my purpose in my life to help every woman make the contribution she's here for. And what do you think I said? Well, of course I said no. Well, I didn't actually say no, but I said, well, let me get back to you. I'm still finishing up the research. I'm not exactly sure what it said, but essentially what I did was I pictured myself around that table in the White House, and I thought, they're gonna think I'm not good enough. And so I prioritized my own view of myself over the contribution that I could make for millions of families around the country. And, there's some other kind of justifications or excuses. Well, I have a lot of other things going on and all those kinds of things. But essentially, it was because I didn't believe in myself at the core. And I had a disconnect that's very common for women who are achieving and want to accomplish, where I kind of knew in my mind and I was really good at what I did and I had something very valuable, but I didn't feel it in my bones in the heat of the moment. And when that's the case, it sets you up to give away your power, like I did in that situation. So here's a diagram that's super high level from what I learned in that research at Harvard Medical School. And, you know, we're all trying in that lower right-hand corner to kind of, you know, make a big impact, reach a big goal, help a lot of people, do our best. And your come from needs to be confident, right? And you need to feel secure and valuable and worthy. And when you're not 100% rock solid in that, that's what's portrayed in this lower left-hand corner here. And I'm just going to summarize all of the ways that we criticize or judge ourselves or hold ourselves back or, you know, all that as just self-doubt. And when you have a doubt about yourself, what it does is you can't fully be in that lower right-hand corner. So what we do as human beings is we put our time and our energy and attention up the left-hand side of the triangle. We act toward other people in order to get other people to act toward us so that we can try to have that confidence within. And there's a variety of ways that we do that. I'll just give you a couple of examples here. One very common one that I see is that we, again, acting toward other people, we seek their approval in some way or their validation. We might say yes when clearly inside of us, it's a no, it's not the best use of our time or our talents. We might please or take care of others. We might kind of, you know, fish for compliments. We might micromanage others because it's very important kind of how we get other people to see us. And all of that acting toward other people so that other people will act towards us. Well, they'll say, we appreciate you, you know, we're gonna you know, compliment you, validate you, etc. It's a way of kind of seeing yourself through others' eyes because you're not necessarily able to get there seeing yourself directly, right? So, but in this way is a little bit of an energy of kind of giving to other people in order to get something back from them. Another example of this is what I did, where I acted towards other people, where I held myself back. You know, I didn't give them an opportunity to tell me that I wasn't good enough around that table. So I prevented their disapproval. I prevented their rejection, their criticism. It's also in our perfectionism, right? I mean, there's a lot of ways that we do this, where we really focus on the gap of where we are, that we're never quite good enough, and then we really grind on the details. And not only are we enough, but all the people around us on our team and that we work with and in our families are not good enough for us either as well. And I just would like to say that I have been all of these patterns extensively, simply so that I could be here talking with you about them today. And the idea that I just want you to take away is that these are indirect ways of getting where you want to go. Can you see that? Can you see all of the energy that goes in, all of the exhaustion, where you're trying to monitor other people's perceptions, you're trying to control other people's perceptions of you? And it's very mental and it's very stressful. And you can control what you can control on the left-hand side, but you can't control other people's behaviors toward you. So you're kind of giving away your power on a silver platter. And the most important thing is that all of this effort into, you know, what are they going to think about me and all of that, but does this approach really help you arrive at being that confident contributor that you want to be? No, it's a little bit of a sugar high. You kind of get the compliment, or I got the relief of not having to like make a presentation at the White House, but it's a little bit like it's just a sugar high. Then you have to keep doing it and keep doing it in order to kind of get the fix. And what we want is the protein diet. What we want, the fix, is to go direct. Go direct. And that's going to be a way that you are going to channel your energies this year in the service of your contribution, is to go direct. Now, what do I mean about this? It means that you source your confidence from within. It means that you take a sense of reward from the way that you show up in your work and the meaningful connections and the way that you help other people, or from your source, whatever that is for you. And and it could even be in your personal life, you know, because indirect is like you're trying to kind of get love. You know, go direct is like be love, you know. Indirect is like try to get love. Go direct is like just feel lovable, you know, just feel competent in yourself, and that you can control. And when you do that, all of that enormous waste of energy that was going into controlling other people is recouped for you, and you get to channel that into your goals without the headaches. And as a leader, as a confident contributor, as a goal achiever, goal achievers go direct, because indirect is about your small game, your personalized momentary concerns. Go direct is about your big game, about your legacy, about what you're here for. It's about raising others. And so I want to show you a strategy, how you can get started going direct, how you can source that from within and to be intentional. I call this your horizon point. This is just a visual, kind of a focal point. Your horizon point is when you think about your goals and the contribution you want to make, who do you need to show up as? Because that you can control. And you want to be intentional. That comes from within. You don't need to worry about what anyone else is thinking about you in order to do that. And so this is an exercise that you can get started on now and even continue to marinate on after our webinar. I want you to make two lists. One is, who do you want to be? Like, what's the best of you, your superpowers, your aspirations? And then the other list is like, what does your role need from you? What does your team need from you? What does the organization need from you? Like, how do you need to be? And when you can get really clear on these things, then you can be intentional. You can put all your energies into this. It's so organizing. It's so much less stressful. It's so empowering. So you're going to make a list of kind of who you want to show up as, your superpowers, and then who your team, your organization, your role and your function needs you to be. And when you do that, the best thing to do is to really boil it down into kind of capturing the essence of it into one phrase that you can take on and live into and remember in the heat of the moment in your day-to-day to create your future. Let me just give you a couple of examples of this. So here's someone who worked at a pharma company, and she was passed over twice for promotion within 18 months. She really wasn't clear about what she wanted in a next level role, what people needed of her. So she got really clear. She found out that information, and she did kind of the exercise, and she wanted to be heard. She wanted more strategic, interesting projects. She wanted to be more confident. So for her, her encapsulating phrase was strategic influencer. She was like, that's exactly what I want to be. And before she would walk into every meeting, it's like, what would a strategic influencer do? How can I show up as a strategic influencer in this situation? She started to delegate certain projects and bring ideas for others. She started to be really effective in how she got buy-in and how she, kind of languaged and messaged and positioned things. She, she just really showed up in alignment with that. And 3 months later, her boss called a meeting with her and said, I've been noticing there's a lot of buzz about like how you've been showing up as an influencer and so much more strategic. Just wanted to let you know this morning I put in for your promotion. It's just an example. When you're intentional, you notice, people notice, and it really, when you're in your power in this way, it is an accelerant toward your goals. All your efforts channeled in the service of your goals. So many examples of this. This is someone poised, visionary. She was someone who was playing off of her boss and, feeling intimidated when her boss was there and feeling more free to talk when her boss wasn't, feeling deflated that she wasn't getting buy-in, kind of being reactive when people weren't buying into the change. poised visionary, and she was able to, within, kind of weeks, just start to really change and get buy-in for this shift across the whole organization. This is someone who was the head of a financial group of advisors, and effortless flow. That's how I want to go throughout my day. Really exploded the numbers in her business, takes 2 afternoons a week to go for massages, spends more time with her kids. Less self-critical, more energy into the business. And I wanted to kind of share with you an example of someone who is at GR, who's on the call today, Jackie Frank. And she is a loan officer, she's an SVP, and she has grown her business this year from 30 million to 80 million. And when we started working together, it was back in April. And so she was thinking, okay, I have this goal, I want to grow the team. I want to, make it more than just me, bring on people and really grow the business and help a lot more people. And so she was intentional. We went through this process that you're going through now, which is like, who do I need to show up as in order to lead my new team members to reach this goal, right? And we thought it through, and for her, it was like, okay, so I have to be, someone who is really clear on our priorities, who can really help them have clarity in their role, who can have a clear vision, who knows, and is intentional about being that role model. I have to be someone who, like, she had to really own it and believe it and show up in that way. So, the first sale is always to yourself, right? So she had to own it so that others could believe it as well. So this is an example of someone who Jackie became really intentional about how she showed up as her horizon point for her team members. And this is so useful for those of you who are asking in the chat, like, well, what do I do in the heat of the moment when, like, I'm caught up in everybody else's, like, stress vortex? This is one thing that you could do to kind of stay in your center and to be intentional. And it's like, who do I need to show up as in order to move other people and everyone else in the situation towards a win-win, towards the best outcome of all, in the service of our goals? And that you can control. Go direct. Be intentional. Show up as your horizon point. And then the third point, when we're talking about kind of why you might not be in your power or what you might be doing to not be in your power, once you're in your power, then you have the opportunity to use your power as a force for good. And this is something that I see so often, is that you might be overlooking the power that you already have in any given situation, right? So you already have so much power in situations, but if you're focusing your attention below the line, if you're leaking your power, if you're kind of indirect, and if you're playing off of others and kind of thinking there's things you can't say or shouldn't say or are uncomfortable saying, or ways that you're not showing up or intimidated, or kind of chasing after other people in order to get them to think certain things of you, all that indirect, if you're doing that, then that's where your attention is going, and it's not going into systematically, where's my power, right? And what power do I have in the situation? And I want you to see, as women, that we have a feminine power that we can use as a source for good. And there are so many things that you have as power, and I want to encourage you to kind of just start looking at them and using them. So even just in this example that we had from Jackie, and Jackie's going to actually have a chance to come on and talk a little bit about her own experience, is Jackie has power in her position. If you are the leader of a team, right, you can set the vision. As a leader, you create the weather on the team. So she could kind of start to talk about her core values and the vision that she has for the team. And She could help people kind of know what they should be doing in their day, and help her people get into networking groups that were going to help them to grow their business. She could kind of talk about and inspire them to help one another. Like, there's just so many ways that she has power kind of on her team. She has power outside of her team. Once you're in your power and you have a really good system, then you can start using that power in terms of leveraging people in your network, using your platform and growing your platform with marketing, with media, I mean, with sponsorships. I mean, there's just so many ways that then you can expand exponentially the power that you do have. Similarly, like, I worked with a woman who was the head of a group of financial advisors in an advisory firm, and she saw that people weren't thriving in the culture, and she wanted to make it better. She had gone to the owners of the firm, and they hadn't really, had much of a response. So she started to use her power. She realized she had relationship capital, and she started to get the partners together, and they started to make the culture that they wanted in the firm. She was much more effective in the way that she approached persuading the owners, the powers that be, and the way that she positioned her argument, and the way that she helped them understand, said, you're right, we need to make a better culture. And they started distributing some of their profits to the highest producers, many of whom were women, and they brought up the culture, and people, weren't leaving. And it was, there was so much power that she had already that she wasn't utilizing. And so that is the point, is to be in your power and use your power, because a woman in her power raises everyone around her. When you're in your power, you create a new standard. You require other people to view you the way that you view yourself. You hold space for new conversations. You inspire, you bring people along in your vision. A woman in her power raises everyone around her. So if you're ready to be in your power in 2022, even if you haven't been, or if you're on your way, here's just a recap. You can regain control, not leaking your power, be impeccable for your 50%. You can resolve your pattern that's indirect and playing off of others in order to get that confidence from within, and instead go direct. Show up at your horizon point, be intentional. You can raise others, not overlook the power you already have. Use your power, because now is your time. And what I wanted to offer you as a resource is I put together a quiz that's really quick and dirty. It should probably only take you 2 minutes or so. And it will give you a better sense of how much are you in your power? How much are you using your power? Where could you be even more in your power? And it will give you a sense of that. And it would be really great if you went on over to www.sharonmelnick.com/power quiz and took this quiz, because also then it will enable you to share your contact information in order to get the results of the quiz. And in September, there will be a book coming out on being in your power, and I'd love for you to know more about it and be getting some sneak peeks.
Oh, I love it. I wanted to make sure we also brought Jackie on. So we're going to leave this slide up because a few of you were like, wait, don't go. Okay, we'll leave this. We'll talk over this one. So you have the SharonMelnick.com/power quiz. Go ahead and take it. Sign up. For all of you who are sending incredibly detailed questions as well. Hi, Jackie. Please know that following her, listening to the podcast, kind of getting involved with that website will allow you to be able to get, I'm sure, much more than the 40 minutes we had to squeeze her information into today. So yeah, hello, for those of you who don't know, Jackie Frank, a Powerhouse originator out of New York, joining today. She actually gave us the recommendation for Dr. Melnick. How are you today, Jack? Oh, I cannot hear you. Hold on. I was getting some noise and I muted you, but let's try again. How about now?
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome.
Yes.
Thanks for joining.
Oh, no, thank you. I mean, I never got to hear Sharon speak that long. I heard Sharon speak last year for 5 minutes, and everything that came out of her mouth was exactly what was going on in my head. All of those things. And I just said after 5 minutes, I got to have some of that. I got to learn that. And so, yeah, in 2019, I closed 19 million and I was in Soul Club, Family Circle, whatever those, right? And then I was committed. I wanted to be in PC Club. I've been in this business, though you can't tell, 26 years. And I've never gone on a PC trip until last year.
And Jackie and I sat at the same table at the PC trip this year, sitting and having dinner, celebrating all of the success that came. We sat right at that table. You
Riviera Maya.
harnessed it. You had it all along. It was in there. It was just harnessing it.
And then I closed 31 in 2020 and 81 in 2021. And I would say the first thing, first of all, I did not hear that White House story before, and I'm mind blown that you did that, because that's not the woman I know, right? I got to GR after 20 years at another company where it was tiny, so I was a big fish. I couldn't even tell you what I closed there because it didn't matter. Back then, of course, it was only about how much you made on each deal, but I'm just saying, like, and I came to GR and heard all the numbers, 100 million, 2 billion, all those numbers that were so out of my realm of possibility that I made the decision not to compete at all. Just going to do my whatever I need just to pay my bills, because if I can't be Shant, just going to be really honest, then why be anything less? I don't want to be on the radar if I can't be on the top. So I bought into all that limiting belief that I can't. And it, you know, whatever then sparked, I mean, I could tell you about my, you know, experience with my manager and how that was part of it and planning. But it was when I heard Sharon talk, and all of it was exactly the stuff I was doing in business and with my family. Let's be honest, people pleasing forever. Never been a thermostat in my life. And being more of a forceful, insist on my way. I would say there's a lot of people even on this call who know me as like the person who is the dramatic, quick reactor. No question about it. I was 18 and my friends from camp gave me a birthday card, and there was me with my bandana and a smokestack coming out of my head, because I was always that person going, I gotta have it, and so I'm frustrated, I'm gonna run people over to get there. And so everything that Sharon talked about was stuff I wanted to be that person. And, you know.
And here you are. And I will say that it's an interesting thing to think about for those of you. Some of the questions were things like, how do I get into my power without being an asshole? How am I not like, and the truth of the matter is, Jackie was saying, I was probably more reactive and more out of who I really wanted to be. And now that I have harnessed all this power, I can say firsthand, Jackie's on the list of people sending like, hey, can you give a shout out to this underwriter? They've been so great to us. Hey, can you make sure that you recognize the people in the department that are doing all this work for us? Like, for those of you who all know that she is driven, like so many of you on here, getting her power straight in her own head wasn't about being an asshole. It wasn't about being awful or being like running people over. It was a difference that Jackie made that made everyone else around her work differently. Because please don't look at Jackie and think she got to 81 this year by like all of her clients instantly were so simple and every one of her answers is just a breeze now. And no, it's not about it just being, everything is so easy in Jackie's life now. She has all the same clients, referral partners, base, but she decided to act and be different. And it has lined things up for herself and her team, who still run into all the same fires that you are all running into. But that 50% that Jackie brings to that every day is a different 50% than all the things that happen in this business that you can't control every day. But I think, Jackie, I'm assuming that as it's probably a journey for most, you still work on being impeccable on your 50% every day.
I have team members on this phone who are shaking their heads going, what does Jose say? SMH, shaking my head. I'm not impeccable every day of every minute, but that's my, you know, goal. And so is being
Much
Chairman's
better.
Club. I mean, I am no question. Next year I'm going to Cabo. Like, it's annoying me that I'm not going to Cabo, right? So I have no doubt I will, but I have tons of work to go. Oh, let's not even be remotely like that I got there and I graduated. That's why, you know, Sharon and I are still working together.
There it is. So Sharon, there is still, I think that you laid out really well, like here are some things. Is there anything additional, practical that people are going, but everybody makes my life miserable in some way? There's a few questions of like, but I have this and going on and that going on and this going on, and what is my first step? What can I hang up from this call and do to regain that control? What's something that I do today to like make this happen for myself?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I mean, just so inspired by Jackie, and thank you, Lizzie, you just like totally wrapped it up and got it. And so, you know, it's so true. So realtors are going to be pessimistic this year. Clients are going to have drama. Team members are going to like not follow through on what they need and make a mistake and all these kinds of things. Like it just is, in addition to politics, weather, all kinds of things, pandemics, right? So it's so true, but actually all the more reason why it's so important for you to be intentional and to be impeccable for your 50%, because again, you're the thermostat. You're the one who can create the weather around you. You're the one who can raise others. Remember what we said, you're not going to get there by reacting to others' limitations. You're going to get there by raising yourself and others to be limitless. And so I think really, you know, it was my intention to kind of start off your year with mindsets that are really powerful for you. And so always making, like, be impeccable for your 50%, like making that like your first resort, like the first thing, you know what I mean, that you say to yourself in the situation. Where's my power? What can I control? You know, and then the second question, like, what's the outcome that I want in this situation? What's the outcome that's in the best interest for all? You know, what's in alignment with my vision here? And then who do I need to show up as in the service of that, right? And then starting off by being really effective at what you can control, which is showing up at your horizon point. So that's why it's so important actually to do that exercise and to know, and to not just leave it up to chance, like, well, I just want it to be better. Or probably what you're saying to yourself is, I wish those people would stop acting that way. And the whole point is, it's like, you know what I mean? So be that confident leader. Be that calm, clear thinker. Be that poised, you know, kind of visionary, because from there, then you can be thinking effectively about how to use your power effectively in the situation. And like even that CTO client that I was telling you about, one of the things that she needs to do that she was asking me about yesterday is, there's someone on her team who hasn't really been performing as needed, and now they're shifting their roles, and she's going to need to, what might be titled a demotion, right? And she's has been putting it off indirect because she's scared he's going to leave, or what is he going to say and spread, you know, throughout the team, and she feels bad, and all of that indirect playing off of him. Instead, be the that's the thermometer, be the thermostat. So we, you know, so she's going to lay out the vision of where the team is going to go, and now this new merged team, and she's going to, you know, message it to him in a way that is dignified and respectful and collaborative. So she's going to say, you know, I'm thinking now as we're merging teams about who's in the right seat, you know, on the bus, and we're, you know, kind of going through reviewing, how are you thinking about your fit in your role? Here's how I'm thinking about the fit, you know. So it's like she's not, she doesn't have to avoid or not do kind of the thing that raises everyone in the situation. She can do it kind of authentic to her in what feels comfortable. She doesn't have to be a bitch, like as you were kind of asking about, right? And she doesn't have to be, you know, critical and all that, but she stays tethered to her vision, and one where she's going to raise everyone and bring everyone along with it, rather than kind of feel all diminished version, like, oh, how do I say this and not, see what I'm saying? It's so powerful when you create the weather.
I love it. And for those of you who are chatting, can I get those three again? I think I wrote them down and have them to just recap real quick. If something happens today and your first moment is, where is my power? Where is my power in this situation? What is my desired outcome? What are you trying to get at? I think there are many who are going in a storm. It's hard to like figure out which direction. What do I want to happen here? And then what do I need to show up as that?
Yeah.
So if today something happens, where is my power? What is my desired outcome? And who do I need to show up as to be able to have that?
When you show up as her, that's right. You're already like everything, you're going to feel how it shifts inside of you and how you're able to then, you're going to view it. And that's why when you're not in your power, you may have tried to change situations and it hasn't worked, right? And hasn't tried. Try coming at it from your power. And then here's something really tangible is if you find yourself being reactive to other people and getting heated and like, you know what I mean, red flush and all of that. I know none of you, but maybe me, right? Then cooling breath. Cooling breath is a reverse breath. So you're going to open your mouth ever so slightly. You're going to breathe in as if you are sipping from a straw. Breathe out through your nose. Breathe in through your mouth, create a wind tunnel. Are you feeling a cooling, Lizzie, are you feeling a cooling, drying sensation over the top of your tongue? You're doing it right.
Yes, so, and I feel like I need water. Yeah.
This is the poster child for be impeccable for your 50%. You're not asking them, you need to calm down, you need to change so that I can be in a good state inside of me. No, not in your power. Cooling breath, right? Calm yourself down. And in so doing, what's the outcome I want? What can I control here? Who do I need to show up as? And then start shifting the energy and moving people in that direction. Being in your power shifts the power dynamic. Being in your power accelerates achieving your goals. And being in your power raises everyone around you.
Oh, so, thank you so much. Those are wise words for us to close with. I want to remind all of you who have additional chats, please go on to SharonMelnick.com, take the power quiz, get signed up so that you can get involved in like what kind of content she's putting out. I saw a chat in here from Tiffany Langdon and wanted to remind everyone that this breath piece also, we have additional help on Mondays for Mindful Mondays for you to be able to reach out for any of additional Mindful Monday. How do you kind of start your week with some intention and find that anchor throughout the week? But I want to thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you so much for all the great chats, Jackie, for joining us. And folks are ready to start the year. I see lots of, I've got a lot of pledges and I know your names who said, I'm standing in my power this year. I can't control that other stuff, but I've got it. Thank you so much, Dr. Melnick. Appreciate it. Thank you all for investing this time in yourselves as well. Thank you.